Hey guys, what's going on? Andrew coming at you. In this video, I'm going to talk about why I'm extremely hopeful for America's future after living in Sweden and going there and visiting. See, I get a chance to go to the States and come back and visit family, and I get a chance to kind of feel the atmosphere in the air, if you will. And I was in the States a few times when there was a Trump presidency, and I could kind of notice a little bit of division. But when I went home this summer, I could feel the tension in the air. Like that was when Delta was still hitting. That was shortly after the election and January 6th and everything else. And there was a tension there. You could almost cut it with a knife. You could feel it between conservative minded people and liberal kind of people and people just being mad at one another. And I was wondering, like, how long can this take? Like, could this lead to terrible things in the future? And how long can people keep fighting like this? And there was still this heavy amount of people that still thought that Trump won, and just this bumbling and negativity and negative energy. It was horrible. To fast forward to coming home now with Omicron hitting and peaking in the States, and I felt such a lessening of tension being home. I felt as though most people are completely exhausted. You know, there was never a time with this much tension that I ever felt in my life. It was always there, but there wasn't that much of it, where I feel that people just are so exhausted. They don't have the energy to fight anymore. They don't care who's on the right side of COVID or some of these other issues. They just want to move forward. So rather than people arguing about masks or not masks, people were actually being friendly with each other, whether wearing a mask or not. People were talking nice to one another and actually acting like Americans again and being good to one another. That was one thing that I noticed. Another thing I noticed is most people kind of have a broken mentality, but like in a good way. Like I would say conservative or Democrats, most people believe that the healthcare system in the United States is broken. Most people believe that the work situation in the US is broken, that people aren't being taken care of enough. There's this great resignation happening in the United States where so many people have left their job. And a lot of jobs like in the service industry, like working in a restaurant or hotel or working around other people, those industries haven't really had a lot of great benefits. And there's been a lot of jobs where that's been the case, where even just like working at McDonald's or some fast food places, those weren't the most desirable places. That because so many people left, these places are having to actually start to pay more money. I saw so many signs saying now hiring at $15 an hour, 16, 17, because the weird thing is minimum wage in the US for Pennsylvania, my state, has been $7.15 an hour since I was a kid. And if you consider that with inflation, it's insane. But a lot of jobs are paying a lot more. And that was a cool thing to see. These advertisements of these jobs coming up and talking about the benefits they have. A lot of people want to work from home as well, and that's going to be an interesting one. I really wonder what's going to happen to the value of buildings over time once people stop going into these, and also how our cities going to look. Cities are going to look different now that people aren't driving into all these cities to work, that they can work from home. So I'm going to be very interested to see what happens with housing and property. Because I have a feeling that property values overall are going to drop everywhere. But it could be a good thing if they actually put like low cost housing into a lot of these old city buildings. If they could make them into apartments, that would be really cool. So that was an awesome thing. And another system that's broken is definitely our education system. Just looking at everything that like I have a student loan I need to pay back, but they keep freezing my student loan and it doesn't need to be paid anything. And I keep waiting on that loan. I'm paying off my other loans that have higher interest rates right now. And everybody's waiting to see, because I feel like America has to give some type of student loan forgiveness to millennials. And I know these older people or you boomers out there looking at us like, nah, not going to happen, or you can't do it. We're paying like 5 times what you paid at this point. We just made it through a pandemic. We graduated in 2009 when there was no jobs, and then we migrated to try to find different jobs that were less paying. Then we got hit with the pandemic, and we still have our bills. If America does not step in and help people out, we will never recover from this. It's just never going to happen. So the Democrats said they were going to do it, and they didn't do anything. But they keep pushing the student loan backs, which makes me think that maybe something's coming in the future. I really hope so. Our education system is broken and needs to be fixed. It's way too expensive, and you have a whole generation of people that are not going to recover. So seeing that all Americans agree on these things, worker issues, healthcare issues, education issues, it has pushed all our problems to the forefront, and we have seen the negative side of capitalism. There's good sides to capitalism, there's negative sides to capitalism, and we've seen what happens when you have a society about me, individuality, you're responsible for yourself. It does not work on a global scale and a global level. This is one of the reasons why I can't consider myself to completely be, I used to be a libertarian, but I can't be anymore. Is because libertarians, you believe that everybody's responsible for themselves. You do you, I do me. The issue is on the global level, there's still impacts on health, and decisions still have impacts on those larger scales. So that let me leave, because when I left the States, I felt like, could Trump win here again? I don't think so. I think he could run again and rattle up a lot of tension. But I kind of feel like if he was running again and there's a lot of tension, there's going to be like 30% of the people that voted for Trump that are just not going to want to go through that again. You know, a lot of people's mental health took a toll in the States dealing with all this. So I hope we can become Americans again and look out for what's best for everybody. I don't think that America's going to make this huge shift to the left or the right anytime soon. But if we can find some kind of compromises, because you can't have a global pandemic and then people not afford to stay home from work because they're sick or make these difficult decisions. We're supposed to be the richest country in the world. How is it that billionaires are flying rockets into the space and then people working at fast food restaurants can't survive? It's not going to work this way, guys. Our system was already broken, but add in a pandemic and it completely destroys a lot of our systems. And we're going to have to learn better moving forward. But hopefully we can do that as a group of people and realize the collapsing of the middle class wasn't a reason to vote in a guy like Trump. I understand it. It happened because of the collapsing of the middle class. But instead, if Republicans and Democrats can realize that the collapsing of the middle class is bad for everybody, it almost led to an insurrection. It almost led to all this unrest. We have to step up. We have to do something. So those are just a few of my thoughts. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, don't forget to go ahead and smash that like button. And I'll see you guys in the next video.
Hej då!